You're listening to Cultivate Leadership Project. This is episode 48. Today we're going to be covering a few keys, but we're going to be focusing on key number 7, being a team player. But the subtext, right? The subtitle is, are you adding or subtracting to the team? And here's the CLP point of view. Here's where I'm getting today's thought and coaching from, okay? So the journey of a leader is not the way that most people think it is. The thought is that it's all exciting and it's all in the spotlight, when the reality is that much of the time is spent working and dealing with issues and different types of personalities. People think it's all fun, right? And it's not. It's when you're in a team environment, it doesn't matter what the goal is or how great the leader is or how great a particular team member is. There's still different personalities and habits and characteristics within a group that don't mix well. And someone has to manage that. Someone has to figure out how the team best fit together and work to be the most efficient. Overall, you're going to always have limits. You can't always have it perfect. You can plan it out in a perfect way, or, like if everything was at 100%, this is how it would work. But that just doesn't happen. Most teams function with a little bit of friction. Communication might not be good, but that's not a sign of a bad leader or a bad team. That's just what it is. But everyone desires to be in the spotlight to share their insights and their infinite wisdom. This is the thought that most people have. It isn't necessarily a bad thing, but the spotlight is given to those who have sacrificed and worked and have something to share. But it's earned. It's not, you don't start there. You know what I mean? You work your way there. And the more influence that you have, the better it is to share that wisdom that you do have to partake, because there will be someone there to listen. And yes, every great leader has time in the spotlight. But when you take a closer look at the life of a leader, the spotlight is a small part of a leader's life. These are like key number 9 leadership truths. Very little time is spent behind a mic or in front of a big group. The rest of the time, leaders are developing and reading and planning and managing people, managing schedules. Depending on the organization that you're in or trying to establish, that may look a little bit different. But here's some dynamics of a team, or the dynamics of a team, and is this: whether you're leading a team or just a part of a team, we're all guilty of bringing great ideas that we expect others to do. This is a big thought that I'm trying to compress into this episode. There's nothing wrong with ideas, but sometimes we get ideas confused with opinions. And so when a great idea comes, we want to put focus on it. We want to put a team. We want to execute it so that things can get better. An opinion is just, at a quick glance, how do you feel about this? But sometimes they're not always at the right time, right? So let me continue. What we lack is a realization that with every great, right? Now I'm just saying great ideas comes with a great amount of work and will involve more than one person to execute. These great, or I'm being silly obviously, because everyone believes that their ideas are great, but they're just ideas. They're great. I think you can add the word great whenever they're executed and they come to life, right? That's when an idea is great. But beforehand, I think it's just an idea. The ideas come after an event or after a project is completed. This is when the idea/project, someone approaches the leader or someone, a part of the team, comes and says, I have an idea, one will share what can be done to make it better next time. Ignoring all the work done beforehand and disregarding the processes and time it took to complete. And I'm aware of constructive criticism, but this episode is not about that. If you're a part of a team, and then after the team, you come together and you say, guys, what could we have done better? And everyone contributes. There's nothing wrong with that. But whenever you spend so much time developing and working out a plan, and as soon as you finish that plan, someone comes up to you and they give you their idea. Oh, you should have did this. You should have added that. And have no clue of what it takes to have one of your team members design a logo or prepare the audio or oversee the scheduling or the comms. Like, they have no idea of all of that. They just want to tell you, like, this could be better. But as a leader, we all are aware of the work that goes behind the scenes, right? What it takes to really make things happen. And so these are things that happen. This is the lack of awareness when someone throws, I got an idea out there, right? Because when we're making stuff, it's complicated. And the process for others, it maybe look a little bit different, but here's a list of things that I think goes into creating something and managing a team from a leader's perspective. First, the purpose, or you may have a problem for the inspiration. This is from the very beginning. This is what motivates it. I want to accomplish this, or this keeps messing up. Let's figure out a way to fix it. And then boom, that's whenever the wheels start turning. And then after that, most people, most leaders, organizations, they begin to write down that idea. Here's what I want it to look like. Here's what I want it to be called. Here are the colors. Here's when I want it. Here's what it'll cost. They start notating it so that they can begin to visualize the idea. Okay, it's number 2. Number 3 is they figure out how much work the team will have to do, and does the team have the capabilities to accomplish everything? This is just questions that a leader and an organization has to ask themselves, because sometimes the projects are too big and you may be able to accomplish a certain part of the project. But this analysis, this examining your team and knowing your team, this is when that comes in play. Number 4, set timelines for completions of certain tasks and scheduling. This is important. This goes into every single idea. This is kind of the backbones, right? The behind the scenes of every idea. And I'm just showing you how complicated it is, because when someone comes up to you and says, I have an idea, they're not considering, I'm only on 4, there's a few more, these things, okay? This one, setting timelines for completions. These are just goals. This is like, if we want to make this happen by this month, here's what we have to do the first month. Here's the type of team members we have to have. Here's their specialties. Here's what they have to accomplish. Here's what we have to pay. Here's what we have to schedule. Here's what we have to make. Here's what we have to develop. That's all timelines and completions and scheduling and task. That's very important. And that's part of the process behind ideas. The next one. Begin to work and document the process to ensure duplication. This is important for whenever you're rolling out an idea. As you're doing it, a lot of leaders note, okay, today we opened this program, we paid, this is what it offers, this guy wrote this out, and next this happens, you plug this cable in here, you set the TV up here, you name it. You have to document how it works, and then that way, a great leader begins to develop other people because they don't have to be present in order for everything to work. And this is just another part of rolling out an idea. After that, number 7 is test run, right? You don't ever make a product and then just put it out there first on the first go around. No. You have trial and error, and then you examine it and make it better. And so you test run it, right, at some point, and this is key. Number 8, identify problems and how and who will fix them. So when you do a test run, you're going to figure out, we didn't do this, we need to do that. This was not the right product. This was, we need to spend more money on a better product, or, anything like that. This program was too entry level. We need a more pro level. Those things start coming up. during the test run. And that obviously falls under scheduling and stuff. And so that happens way before it goes out to the public. So that's where you identify the problems, and then you figure out how you're going to fix them, right? Did someone mess up, or is it a real problem that needs to be addressed, and so forth. After that, you launch it, put it out there. You set your goals, you met your marks, you ran your test, and now it's out for the world to see and to test and to experience. But even there, an idea doesn't stop. Launch is not the end. After that, you identify problems and make adjustments, because they'll continue to happen once you get some user experience behind what you're doing. There's certain tweaks that every product or anything needs. And then the last one that I wrote down is see the vision work. That's when you enjoy it. Before you see the vision work, there's so many things that have to happen before that. The process is key. And I feel like if someone has this in their mind, especially if they're trying to become a leader, you're slower to say, I have an idea, because there's so much that goes behind it. And this looks different for every leader and organization, but the general idea of having a plan will be present. Sometimes the ideas we offer are just opinions, but we don't realize that. It's good to know. And so here's the CLP tip for each team member to be aware of. All right, there's 4 tips that I have. And so the goal of a team member is to add the chances and increase the chances for success. Number 2, to be aware of the team's resources and capabilities. This is whether you're a leader or a part of a team. You just know they communicate well, they write well, they're good with Photoshop, they're good with editing video, they're good with sales, they're good with planning. Those things are these awarenesses that we as leaders, or like I said, team members, we must have. You have to learn how and what these are, and this will help your team. Number 3, to work within one's limits. This one's hard to do. It's important. What is it that you're good at, right? And what is it that you need to learn? And if you're going to go all in and make the team better, you go with what you're good at, and you put the learning, the things that you need to learn, maybe for another time, not whenever the team expects you at your best. Step in with what you're good at. This is hard to do. The other day, I was overseeing a Zoom meeting for a big group, and I did my research, and I prepared, and I asked a few questions, but I never had done it like actually doing it. And so the time came to do it, and I dropped the ball. You know what I mean? I worked outside of my limits. Like, my confidence was there, but I dropped the ball. And that's what it looks like. That's like a real life example, and it happened with me here recently. And so be aware of your limits and work within them, especially when you're a team, because it helps the team. And if you don't, it usually hurts the team. And I put 2 or 3 people on a very stressful, I stressed out 2 or 3 people because I kind of overextended my limit in knowledge. But there you go. You learn also. You learn from your mistakes. And so number 4, to know your role and the roles of other team members. We all have lanes. Whether you're a leader or not, we all have lanes. Stay within them. Don't get offended. Don't feel bad, right? If you're not in charge of something else, or if your insight isn't taken in another area, it's all good. That's just part of the game. That's how a team works. That's why key number 7 is so important, to being a team player. You got to know the rules, okay? To better accomplish this, here are 2 types of team members. The first one, you kind of don't want to be this guy. No one may tell you, because it's very confrontational. A lot of people will get defensive and take it the wrong way. But I'm going to read it. This might help you with some self-awareness, some examination of yourself. Here we go. So the first one is a person who offers ideas from a hire a pro mentality. Let me explain. Is the sense that the person has just thought about an idea and how great it will be. A hire a pro mindset looks like, okay? They disregard how much work and people the idea will need. Okay, does that make sense? They throw it out there, they lack awareness. Expect the person hearing the idea to oversee and coordinate the personnel to take responsibility for the idea. They usually say this because they're not in a role of leadership or influence, so they want to pass it on to someone else and just simply be the idea person. But when you know the work, you hold your ideas back. You're not so quick to give ideas unless you're able and aware of all the work it takes to accomplish it. Even money sometimes. Some things are just not cheap. Offers ideas that relate to small tasks that require lots of work. Again, a lack of awareness. Not every fix or everything that seems easy is easy. Can't execute an idea without using the leader's resources and influences. This is just out of their limits. Might be a great idea, but if they're not in the position to accomplish it, sometimes just hold on. There's more strategic ways to do it. This is a hire a pro mindset. It's not good. Here's the next one. Doesn't find smaller issues that better relate to their skill set and limitations. They ignore fixing and making something better that has to do within what they have control of. They kind of just overlook that, jump into the bigger picture, into an area that's just, again, outside of their capabilities. When working in a team, it's so important to know your role and skill set. And if you desire to do more and have more influence, you must prove yourself in the work that you do and motivate yourself to learn outside of your comfort zone. This happens in our journey and in our process. This is going to be hard for some that consider themselves creatives. I'm not being negative towards creatives, but sometimes we forget everything requires work. Due to the fact that most creative ideas require time and work to execute. But as an idea person, one believes that their idea is the key to success. And every now and then it might be, but no idea is good unless there's work, unless there's influence, unless there's a team behind it to execute it. But for the most part, an idea is only as good as the work that is put into it. For someone with a hire a pro mentality, they speak as if they are speaking to someone that is hired to do what they say. When one hires a pro, it makes sense to give them the big idea and expect them to make it real, when in reality, they are just ignoring the work that it will take, the people that the idea will require, or how much time is going to be needed. But they will surely offer to help within their limits. So they give the big idea, ignore everything it's going to take and say, but I'll stick to what I'm good at. And that's just not good, okay? So this is to help you. This is not criticizing. This could be you. It could be someone that you know, and sometimes we just need to hear it from someone else in order to begin to grow out of it and become better from it. But while at the same time expecting so much of so many, a hire a pro mentality is not a good quality. And if you show signs of this, there's a good chance no one will tell you. A team or a team leader has many issues, okay? So I get as a leader, you have to identify and help your team players. But this is a hard issue to bring up. And, this is why I'm making this episode. This might bring awareness to someone that needs to hear this. So as a team or a team leader, this issue may be hard to deal with, especially because you're dealing with so many people, that you're dealing with project and so forth, okay? So trying to enlighten someone and help them change and grow, it will require too much energy and time, which will take them away from the task at hand. So most will listen, but at the end of the day, will choose to listen to the idea, but at the end of the day, will choose to focus on managing the projects on hand, because the idea is not a plan, but it will definitely add more work for the leader. And the leader has to be aware not to take in ideas just so quickly without considering the work that's going to be needed. Number 2, here's the opposite of it. Here's a good mentality. Here's a good way to bring your ideas and opinions to a leader or to a team. Okay, so number 2 is a person who offers ideas from a I do mindset / willingness. So this person has great ideas and is aware of the work required to execute. Will figure out beforehand, that was number 1. Number 2, will figure out beforehand how much of the work they can do themselves and ask for direction in the areas that they need help with a willingness to learn and to do. Okay, number 3, willing to do what is asked of them, whether it's wait or write out a plan or continue to focus on your task. They don't take that as how come you don't listen to me? I gave you a great idea. No, sometimes it's just not the right time. And so they're able to just hold on. They're able to write it out and not give up on it, especially if they believe in it. They can take that pretty well. Number 4, no or not now should be seen as a time to better prepare a pitch and make a plan. So a lot of people come with ideas, and as soon as you tell them no, they get offended. They say fine, and then they even lower the level of execution in their task in an existing team or project. But a person that has a I'll do mentality, it's they seem to do better with it. The next one, don't just think idea, but see if there is something else that needs attention and offer to fix that. Execute small fixes that add to the team's success, and you'll get your chance to be heard. Sometimes we want the big idea. We want to solve the big problem, but there's a lot of other things that need attention that fit within your scope of knowledge and skills that you can literally fix. That's something to keep in mind. As a leader, we understand how much work it took to gain respect and influence. And as a leader, we know if it wasn't for the work and focus, we would not be where we are. This is why it's important to lead by experience. As a leader, we show the I do way of doing things in order to expect it from those that we lead. Having a good mindset is important, but if not careful, it could remain in the mind. If I had to choose, I would choose a willing person first because they understand and respect the get it done mentality part of leadership and team dynamics. Someone with an I do mindset, it is easier to teach them to shift their thinking, right? As opposed to someone with a hire a pro mentality, because it will require work, and that's where they are good. A hire a pro mentality by itself is more prideful and strong-minded and may not take the advice as a good thing, but as an attack. And I do mentality is a good characteristic. When becoming a leader, this I will approach will make you valuable to any team and will give you opportunities to share your ideas, right? We were so eager to share what we have inside. Well, you got to earn it with work and focus and willingness. So when you share, many people will listen because they know you have been thoughtful about the work required, because you respect work, and that you're coming from a help perspective, right? You're coming for help, not a hire a pro mentality. The key factor for an I do person is the understanding of what it takes to build something and is aware of their limits. If one were to offer up an idea and have the time, resources, and knowledge and understands the details that go into making things great, this is a good place. I hope you enjoyed today's episode. I covered 2 personalities. The first one subtracts from a team, and that is a person who offers ideas from a hire a pro mindset. The second one is a person that adds to a team, and this person is a person who offers ideas from an I do mindset. Thank you for listening to Cultivate Leadership Project. This is We are in March 2020, and right now, out in the world, there's and it's just a time that's not easy for a lot of people. I just want to send out my thoughts and prayers to those that have lost someone. I just want to encourage you to continue to develop who you are. Take this time to write down your ideas. Take this time to develop your leadership and start the beginning steps of building or making your dream come true.